No one's home.
Goldilocks is here.
Oh, hi, Goldilocks. Did you bring the three bears?
I thought this was the house of the three bears.
This is House of the Three Bears. Sometimes I can barely bear it.
And I'm always looking for the perfect Goldilocks thing. So, here's some Goldilocks.
Meditation hat. That's that you're a bishop.
You remember the last time we did something.
It's the last time you were a bishop, and I wasn't saying that so good.
start singing.
Yes, do. Such a lovely sound, isn't it? Beautiful. Good evening, my friends from near and far, from New York, Chicago, the East Coast, the West Coast, very few from China. Soon. Welcome to the energy field of the Christ field, which is a field of consciousness, not a person, but a formulation of consciousness and light that creates an energetic form, and it's a creative form of source. So in the beginning, there was source within the void, and it was simply darkness. But within source, the mind of God, if you will, all possibilities already exist. It's much like when you close your eyes, you could think about anything. And so all possibilities exist within your thinking, but there's no manifestation of it. And so the void asked itself the great question, what am I? And in that yearning to know what it was, that's when light was created, and it was the light of the Christ, which is a creative mechanism that can hold light focused within to the void, where all things exist within the mind of God, if you will. And it can illuminate that which is within the mind of God. And as it does, it creates then a mirroring, a reflection off of it. And as that reflection comes forth through the opening doorway within you, because this is what all Christ systems are, they are from within out, source within to creation without. And so everything is a potential Christ creative system. And as you learn to open the doorway and illuminate, then arising forth are the images, the feelings that are in alignment with your highest self. The Christ system, as it then arises forth, it's spirit then. It's the breath of spirit, it's the image of spirit. And as it arises forth, it touches the facets of this prismatic, glittering form that we call the Christ field. And it literally erupts it out into light activation. And then holographically, it begins to create it. And there is a substance called the eoma, E-O-M-A. In the words of Sanskrit, they call it akasha. It's a very fine, superfine substance that can't be seen. But when the Christ field is holding these image focused and with clarity, the eoma, the akasha, then precipitates substance around it, and it literally then comes into manifestation. Now, that can take time, like we might say in the formulation of a great star. A star begins simply by hydrogen, which is a gas, quite dispersed. But even though that's what could be seen, the hydrogen, is really something that comes from the eoma. But within that system, there is already a Christ field. You can't see the Christ field, but it is a consciousness that is already within that cloud of hydrogen. And it begins to then summon and call its vision. It's holding a vision of that which it would become, a great sun. Just like our solar sun, the one that's in the sky, it's a Christed system, a creative mechanism of source that then, as that Christed system then summons the vision, the image, it rises forth, and the Christ is then holding that image fixed. The hydrogen, if you will, gathers around it, and finally, over time, precipitates it into an igniting sunlight. And we know, you see, that that igniting sun, it actually has life within it, because it's the light from our sun that gives life to everything on the planet. Every tree, every plant, every insect, every animal, every human being, all creation is simply the light of the sun, which is a Christed system. And so the sun is then emanating this Christed system from it, and we are then taking in that energy. And we are then given the opportunity to be able to use that to begin to purpose ourselves. And as we begin to learn all the lessons of light, dark, yin, yang, masculine, and feminine, which are the essence of power and love, we learn through the Christing that we can then begin to synthesize in consciousness all that back into a waveform that then creates around us the Christed system, which is the star tetrahedron. And as that system then is being developed within you over time, as it becomes honed and refined, there literally then opens a vortex within you, right in the area of the heart chakra, and it opens back into the void, back into source, where all exists within the mind of God, if you will. But if you will, you came forth from out of the void, and now as you open the doorway as a Christed system, you once again can illuminate the choices that you choose within the void, within the mind of God, that are your individual becoming of that which you are. As you hold in image and feeling upon it, it creates a reflection. And so, what would you imagine? What would you image in the perfection of the great being you are? If you're imaging in images and thoughts and feelings about loneliness or separation or worry or lack of prosperity, because you are a Christ system, as all human beings, and potential arising forth is those qualities, which then precipitates them into form around you. And so we're here at the beginning of a new paradigm to no longer try and create what we're wanting by manipulating and controlling the resources of Earth, but to learn how from inside out to so clearly with focus and intention see, feel the images of creation within us. And because we have honed and refined the Christed system, those images are rising forth. They then touch the prismatic form that is now moving around us. It then literally prismatically spins out holographically that feeling nature. The Om then begins to precipitate substance around it. And then we meet in our life, when we meet things around us that are being attracted to us, that which we are holding as intention within us. And so it becomes a very important time in this movement of the old paradigm of manipulation and control into the new paradigm of how will I imagine my life? How will I imagine me? How will I imagine the choices that I choose? And if we are then focusing and feeling those with clarity, we then will see manifesting in time space those qualities. Now, this last week, I had a couple of clients that came on Saturday, and I wanted to share this with you because all of us who are doing this work, we've created some level of light activation. When we're on a spiritual pathway, we literally begin to accrue light within us, and so the aura begins to be fleshed out with more light around it. Well, as this particular individual sat down, I could see there was quite a large and dynamic aura field of light and spiritual, if you will, clarity. But about 2 feet out from the aura, there was a little bit of a darker cloud, a darker ring. And what this was, it was a feeling of limitation that this person was beginning to own by acknowledging their worth by what was going on in the world. They weren't vaccinated, and so those who were getting vaccines were being negative to them. There's, again, financial and prosperity issues out there. And so they began to feel people then saying, where is your prosperity? How are you going to survive? Their person was in a relationship, and that relationship did not match their energy wave. And so it was, again, from thought forms, not physical, but just by thought form, seeking to limit and, if you will, control this individual. And so it literally created this ring of energy that, just like, if you will, a code of energy completely around the auric field, it didn't allow them to really know and feel the goodness and the greatness within them. They were picking up on the limited thoughts and ideas of the world. And the world is in a place of fear, in a place of worry. And this individual said, there are so many conspiracies out there happening. What is really the truth? And I said, once you really come upon the knowing that within you is the living light, and you begin to acknowledge only that, you no longer are worried what someone might say, feel, or think about you. You're not worried or concerned about conspiracies. Yes, they're happening. But if you have a feeling of the fear of conspiracy, you will draw it to you. If you have a feeling of guns and violence, you will draw it to you. This is a whole new paradigm. It's becoming so enlivened now with what people feel and think inside that it's creating it ever more rapidly in the world. And if there is love and light and joy and peace, and that is your focus, acknowledging the greatness of that which you are by doing your meditation once, twice a day, always enlivening the light within, because it's an infinite light. It comes from source. You're not looking for God or light or truth out there in the world anymore. That's the old paradigm. We must now turn so deeply within that we open the doorway to the infinite of source where you originally came from. This is your origin. We have forgotten our origin. We begin to believe that what's going on in the world is the truth, and we give our power away to it. And so this is what this individual was doing unconsciously. And as I was able to see that and acknowledge it for her, I told her, you must now move into the imagining way. Imagining is feminine. Masculine is the focusing of attention. The old masculine was doing, action, manipulation, control, trying to make things happen outwardly. And it's the paradigm that's over. And the new paradigm of masculine is honing the mind to be silent, as we well know, to become a beautiful focus of light, which is attention. You focus it upon the feminine of imagination, what you love and what you bring your light to. And as you then can imagine and feel it dynamically, holding the light attentive upon it, that is then the awakening, the honing of the Christ system. And then arising forth over time, you'll begin to actually see the breath of spirit arising forth to give life to that which you are imagining. And so she was very clear, you see, when she left, that she had been lost in really this thinking about conspiracies, about the fear in the world, about the news, about the capital, about all that has gone on, even the COVID, even the vaccines. Should I or shouldn't I? Some do, some don't. It's not about any of that. It's about creating your reality from inside out now. That is the new paradigm, and we will be supported in that new paradigm. And what will be drawn to us is people, events, situations that edify and give life to that. If you're in the place of worry and fear and unconscious feeling that things are not out of harmony with me, then when you feel that within you, it begins to literally begin to quickly precipitate that into your life. And I agree that things are becoming much more dicey out there. The world is in a very, if you will, place of destructuring. It's part of the plan so that the world could be destructured, so that it could be rebuilt. When a flower dies, it creates a seed. The seed then creates a new flower. Well, Mother Earth has already seeded herself into a new flowering. And that is a new nature that is arising forth. Even in the destruction, there's a new nature, a new wave. It's a little bit unseen yet, but Mother Earth is arising forth in her new nature. And she's going to have those who survive on her planet who acknowledge and feel nature within them and nature without. And so the more that you can now be in nature and live with nature and acknowledge the beauty of life, again, imagining the beauty of life, feeling the beauty of life, you're in alignment with a new paradigm and with a new life wave that is awakening on Mother Earth. So very important, my friends. Last week, we talked a little bit about the breath, and we were bringing another, if you will, essence to the breath. And that the breath is actually the summoning, when we're in breathing, the summoning of source, but it's actually the summoning of the life force, living spirit. So there are three components to creation. There is the spirit, there is the Christed system that images it in, and then there's then the Oma that makes it coordinate in time space. And so there's matter, there's the Christ, and then there's spirit. Well, spirit is one of the major components to this triumvirate. And so as you're breathing in, we're actually breathing in spirit. We're acknowledging the images that we choose to illuminate, but the in-breath is literally we are calling spirit into life. And then in the out-breath, spirit is now giving life to that which we hold within the star tetrahedron. What we hold within our life is the imagination. And in that life-giving spirit coming through, it then acknowledges it into formation. And so I'd like to invite you to be ever more conscious in your meditation of the in-breath is actually the summoning of spirit from within. You're summoning the void. You're summoning that which is the creative life force. And as you're then imagining and feeling the star tetrahedron moving around you, upper triangulation left to right, lower triangulation right to left, as this prismatic form is then moving around you in your held consciousness, you've now breathed in spirit, life. With the out breath, it touches the facets of the spinning star and it brings life to your body. It gives life to things around you. It goes out into the world and creates a new frequency of light activation in the world. And so we're not trying to change the world. We're trying to manipulate it. We're simply creating a new vibration of light activation from source. And as we create more and more of the Christ field, you and I then begin to actually create a net. And the net of the Christ field begins to circumvent the earth in love. That then holds a vibration of such beauty and grace that ignorance and illusion can no longer exist. It's not trying to change it. It's just a new vibration comes in. It's just like if you're very cold. Well, that's a vibration. You go out into the sun and stand in the sun. The sun doesn't try and change it. It simply gives you and gifts you the rays of this living light. And very quickly, cold disappears. It's the same with the ignorance and the old paradigm on the planet. As we bring in the new Christed system and we emanate it in group mass, all of us together, it begins to create this living net of light. That Mother Earth is already exuding the vibration also of this living net of light. And as we join in, we and Mother Earth as a new consciousness, a new humanity, we will create a whole new heaven on earth experience. This is evolution. And that's all that's happening on the planet. We're evolving out of the old paradigm of being simply humans to evolve into the new paradigm of human divine beings who embody spirit so beautifully within. We are walking as God, goddesses on earth. This is the phrase heaven on earth, God on earth through you, through I. And that's what then creates a new paradigm in alignment with the grace of Mother Earth arising forth. I looked up the word Soham, which is what we use in our breath work. It's S-O, capital S-O, capital H-A-M, Soham. And in Sanskrit, the ancient knowledge of India, it means I am that. And so as we're breathing in the I, God I am. And as we exhale and let it go, we then acknowledge I am that. And that is the imagination. That is everything you already see in creation. That is everyone around you. Everyone already is source in manifestation. It's just some things are carrying an ignorant veil around them. Not to judge or to criticize or dislike, but simply realize that as you bring forth the so-hum breath and emanate the frequency of the Christ field from you, the living light, it begins to automatically change everything and everyone around you. So the so-hum breath becomes a very important part of our work. I found in my own meditation that I become very, very focused on the so-hum breath. And it's not really so much saying the so-hum breath, but it's knowing that as I'm in breathing, a very deep, slow, profound breath. As the body settles down and becomes more quiet, you find that the cells and the tissues of the body expand and let go. And then you're breathing in not only from inside out, you're breathing from all around you. You're living within spirit. You're living right now within the void. It's all the energy between all the cells and tissues of the body. And so as we're breathing in, We're summoning spirit, the life force of creation. As we hold for a couple of counts and relax and then let go, we imagine and feel that as it then emanates from us, the breath of life is moving through the facets of the star tetrahedron, and glittering living light is now emanating from us. And then once again, deep, slow, profound breath. And so in my meditation now, you see every part of my meditation is based upon seeing and feeling from the open door within the heart, the in-breath so. And I'm seeing and feeling the light of spirit, life force. I'm feeling it flowing from all around through the open cells and tissues of my body. And as I then gently exhale, I'm imagining and feeling the star tetrahedron in its movement around me, spinning out the living light of the Christ field. So very important that I would like to invite you to begin to work at that level in your meditation. You'll find it will be, I think, very enlivening, and you'll feel a whole nother level of quickening within the body and within your consciousness. So let's go ahead and practice the Soham breath for about 5 minutes before we slip into our meditation. When we're doing the Soham breath, of course, we like to have the spine very straight, erect. The spinal column becomes a living tube of light around which the spinal cord is then the middle of the star tetrahedron. It's in front, it's in back, it's all around. And as we're breathing in, we're allowing the belly to really, the diaphragm going down, really pulling in the air, breath of spirit. We're imagining and feeling the living light coming in, filling the body. Holding for a couple of counts and gently letting go, sparkling, effervescent light, spirit all around us. And then once again, back to deep acknowledgement of the life force of spirit arising from within. So let's do the Soham breath for about 5 minutes, please. And another breath or two, summoning spirit, source from out of the open doorway, deep, purposeful summoning. And so you may find this new technique of breath a little bit, um, I don't know, unyielding at first or strange. But if you would stay with the practice, you would find that your meditation begins to be deeper, clearer, and you're actually summoning the life force of spirit from inside out. And so you're actually, with your, again, imagination, you're watching and feeling from the open doorway this literally life force of light arising forth from within. Holding for a couple of counts and then gently letting go, body relaxing. And as I'm doing the breath work, I'm feeling all of the cells and the tissues and all the body opening up, becoming lighter and lighter. Not that I'm floating, mind you, but creating space so that as I'm in breathing, not only am I breathing source from inside out, I'm breathing through the entire field of my aura, which is also source spirit. As I then hold for a couple of counts and then out breath, I imagine and feel all the tissues and cells of the body very open, expanding. And now there's an ease of breath moving all around and through me out into the world. And so this is then the deepening into the Christ system. So I'm going to take you through the star tetrahedron meditation now, again, which is the focusing of consciousness and light to create this energetic wave form around, within, and through us. And so we simply focus the light of the mind at the third eye, which is the silent mind of power, which is light. And as we ignite the light, we then come down to the heart chakra and we illuminate the star tetrahedron, whichever size you choose. The apex above is divine masculine power, and we can imagine it turning left to right clockwise, lower triangulation right to left counterclockwise. But I invite you not to get caught up in it's going to be turning this way or that way. It will automatically turn as it's appropriate for where you are in your practice. So relax into it and simply see and feel the star field around you. And then arising forth is spirit that brings life to it. And in the gentle exhaling, letting go, the star tetrahedron is then spinning out glittery, living, dynamic sunlight from all around you. The cells and the tissues of the body relaxing, creating space, almost feeling as though the body has now simply disappeared at a cellular level, and there's just light moving within and through and all around. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. I invite you to be aware of the breath, summoning living spirit. And with each breath, the body is relaxing and letting go. And then bringing the attention between the eyebrows as you draw a line straight back. In the approximate center point of the head, you ignite the light of the soul. Like a light that turns on, you simply ignite the light. Holding attention here, you feel the light increasing as it fills the mind and the brain with a great piece of light. We bring our attention to the heart chakra at the sternum, and we image in, illuminating the star tetrahedron. Upper triangulation, divine power, turns left to right clockwise. And the lower triangulation of divine love, right to left, counterclockwise. And as the star tetrahedron turns, it opens a sacred doorway in the center of the chest, within the heart chakra, back into the realms of spirit, source, and arising forth is the living spring of spirit. And with each profound in-breath, you are summoning, feeling spirit arising forth from within, from out of the void. Gentle exhale, touching the facets of the spinning star. Light activation within and all around. Be aware of each breath summoning spirit. I will join with you and bring us all into the living star. And very easily now, slowly coming back into the now. When I'm doing this very deep in breath, I can, as I hold it gently and I really am breathing in deeply, I feel the cells, the tissues, the body expanding. It's as though you are bringing more air, more oxygen. But really, what you're doing is you're bringing life force from out of source spirit that can now begin to fill the gaps between all the cells and tissues. An atom is 99.9999% space, which is the void, spirit. But it's part of the void of spirit within you that is not yet purposed with life. And so as we're breathing in, we're actually then creating more life force spirit within the atoms, the physical molecular structure of the body, which is what we call light activation. And so the body is no longer such a dense vehicle. It changes in its vibration to hold more light, more spirit, more of the Christ field moving in its radiance around us. So I'd like to really encourage you with this particular meditation to work with the breath. And as I was, of course, doing it with you right there, very conscious of this very deep, slow in breath and feeling light and spirit that are rising forth from inside out, like a balloon, really filling me up with light and spirit. And as I then gently let go, you could see and feel the star tetrahedron spinning, and then it literally then spinning out light activation around you. You're taking spirit and turning it into light. Light. Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us tonight. It was a very exciting and marvelous meditation, I felt. I hope you had a similar experience. If I can in any way assist you in your meditation, please let me know, particularly with this new technique. I'm always here to serve you in your process. So, once again, thank you very much, my friends, and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. I'd like to stay, but I got to go.